My name is Doug Kress. I'm the external wholesaler that really covers the western half of Illinois. Some of you, if you're in Illinois, may work with Zarif, my counterpart that's in the city and covers more of the eastern half. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your continued partnership over the years. Jackson continues to lead the industry in variable annuities, and it's due to the people on this call. If you're using Jackson, I send you a sincere thank you. So I'm gonna try to keep this short, sweet, and clear and concise. How about that? Simple ideas, what is working. I know that this was titled about adding guaranteed income for clients, but there are a few other items that I want to go over just because I don't want to miss out on any opportunities. So one of the most popular conversations since we started the year has just been obviously, the administration has changed. We went from a Republican president now to a Democratic president, and the anticipation is that taxes are probably going up. We don't know to what extent. There's a lot of things out there. You can dive into the Biden tax plan to see what's going to be proposed. The fact of the matter is we really don't know what's going to get approved. There's long-term capital gains. There's non-qualified step-up in basis. There's marginal income rates. There's Social Security income tax. It all needs to be voted on, and we really don't know what's going to take effect in 2022. But I think we can all agree that taxes probably aren't staying the same. They certainly aren't going down. I think the reality is they're probably going to be going up. With the amount of stimulus, with COVID relief and infrastructure bills, there's a lot of money being spent, as our government likes to do, and the only way that we're going to pay for that is by people paying more to the IRS. So a conversation that has become extremely popular, and to give you an idea of how popular it has become, we're 80% year over year growth in this. It's called Lead Access 2. There's not a ton to it. I'm going to share with you some ideas in the platform, but advisors have loved it for their clients' non-qualified money. Again, non-qualified money, and I'll go over that story in just a few moments. It comes standard with a 5-year CDSC. So 5-year surrender charge, a client with non-qualified money, we can put it in here and we can continue to grow tax deferred growth for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, depending on when the client needs to tap into it. The only other option is you can buy it down to a fully liquid C share. I can zoom in here. I'm not really sure if you can see my screens, how far I need to zoom in here, but you can buy it down to a C share. So I have a fully liquid mutual fund platform or advisory platform that is growing tax deferred. The 5-year is 1%. If you want it fully liquid, it's 1% plus to 25 basis points for liquidity. So you're at 1.25 with the full liquidity, 120 investment options with absolutely zero tax burden for that client while they continue to grow. The minimum is $5,000, so the barrier to get in here is very low. We see a lot of younger clients where they're maxing out their 401ks and they have additional non-qualified money to put away. They're utilizing this as an unlimited IRA. One feature that we did add that has created excitement is the return of premium death benefit. As silly as it sounds, this has created a lot of excitement around this platform because it gives that person an underlying guarantee on death benefit. If I put $100,000 in, I could invest the money aggressively, but if everything falls apart and it goes down to $50,000 and I die, what do my beneficiaries get? $100,000. So there's a layer of protection there. The other opportunity is if you ever come across old annuities that were written 10, 15 years ago, that have growth in there and the clients are paying excessive fees because of income riders or whatever bells and whistles. The other opportunity is, hey, if we invested $100,000 originally at the current carrier and it's worth $250 now today, why not reposition the $250,000 and lock this in as a new floor death benefit? So there's some reasons why to use the return of premium death benefit. but I'm going to just stick with why advisors have been using it for their clients' non-qualified money over the last few months. Obviously, in Jackson fashion, there is no shortage of investments. We have 120 investments with zero restrictions. Okay, so I flipped through that kind of fast. We have all your American funds and Franklin, and anybody you're really using in the mutual fund space, we're more than likely going to have them on Elite Access. But more importantly, why should I be looking at this, Doug? I get it. It's a mutual fund wrapper. It's going to grow tax deferred. That's great. And this is really the reason why you should be sharing this with clients. This was a survey done by PIMCO. 92% of people want or expect tax planning advice, more efficient ways to grow their money. However, only 25% of those people, or 25% of people, are receiving tax planning advice. So people are wanting some sort of strategy to invest their money more efficiently. Only 25% are actually receiving the services that they want. Here's some of the items on the Biden tax plan. I'll just touch on these briefly. Again, right now the top marginal tax rate's at 37. It looks like that could potentially be going back up to 39.6. And again, I want to put an asterisk by all the things I'm going to say. This is what's in his proposal. We don't know what is going to be approved. These are just some of the things that they want to have happen. Anybody making over $400,000, congratulations, you're going to see an increase in Social Security tax. They're going to be capping itemized deductions at 28%. This was a big one. This is going to be a huge point of conversation with long-term capital gains. It's always been an argument over the last 10 years, I feel like. Anybody making over $1 million, you don't get preferential treatment, or possibly you're going to be paying ordinary income levels. No matter if you're in investment income or bonds, whatever it may be, you're going to be paying ordinary income levels. And then the big one, after your client passes, is the non-qualified step up in basis. Will that go away or not? We don't know. These are just the items that are on the docket. And I think that would be an absolute accounting nightmare and pretty difficult to keep track of. So I just put up an example of a scenario where a client was in a 39.6% tax bracket. They're at 6.2% Social Security, 3.8% Obamacare, and I didn't even add in the 0.8% Medicare surtax. But once you add in the state of Illinois, we're well above 50% in taxable income. So, Mr. Client, the story here is, well, this is a great visual. I'm going to increase the size of that. Here's $1 invested back in 1926. What would it be worth today? And this is paying taxes as you go into mutual funds. And this would be inside of my Elite Access platform that I am showing you right now. What do you think clients would rather have? I would rather have this amount, even if I'm in a 70% tax bracket, which nobody is, and I liquidated and lump summed, I'm still walking away with more money than if I were to pay taxes as I go. So this is how I explain this platform to clients. Mr. Client, there's really one of two ways you can invest your money. And would you agree that the goal is to dump in as much money into these buckets as possible to get them to grow to the highest amount that we possibly can? And this is kind of a silly analogy, but these are water levels, right? We want these buckets overflowing with water, or money in this case. We want these buckets overflowing with money. And the two ways you can invest it. Option number one, if we select American funds in the mutual fund space, there's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is this bucket's going to have holes in it. It's going to leak water. I'm sure everybody on the call would agree that it's probably going to be difficult to accumulate when we're leaking. Why is it leaking? Well, we got dividends, we got cap gains, we got trades being made anytime there's trades in portfolio. It's a taxable event to the client. Something as silly or simple as rebalancing, right? You're a 60-40 investor. And the portfolio's got out of whack the last year and a half because we've had tremendous growth. Now we're more along the lines of like an 80-20, and we need to rebalance and kick it back in your risk tolerance at 60-40. And we do that, it's a taxable event. Or the second option, same investment, we can go into American funds, but we could use this tool called Elite Access. It's just a different platform. Well, the difference is it doesn't have any holes in it. And the question I would ask, which amount is going to grow to a higher amount faster? I think we'd all agree that this will grow to a higher amount faster. But I think the best part of this is only your client decides if, when, and how much taxes they pay. Nobody else. Only your client, when they distribute money out of this, is going to say, okay, I got X amount of income, and this is how much taxes I'm going to be paying. So it's 100% tax control. They get to control their tax liability versus leaving it up to everyone else. Okay, so that's Elite Access. I did want to cover that today just because that is where a lot of business and focus has been as more tax efficient strategies are becoming more important as the tax environment looks to increase here over the next few months. Any questions over Elite Access before I move on to Perspective 2? No questions?
No, it looks good.
Okay. I will let me move on to Perspective 2. Now, really what the focus of this webinar was supposed to be about, but I'm going to start off with a tool that I've shared with you guys before. But like anything, the more you hear it, the more comfortable you'll get with it, and the more likely you'll be to start using it. But again, it's a calculator by American Funds that I don't think there's a better way to tell this story to clients, why we need guaranteed income in the portfolio than this tool. And to me, this is a conversation beginner. Let's get their feet wet. But I'm the client, Tony's my financial advisor, and I have $1 million of investable monies. Whether that's qualified, non-qualified, it really doesn't matter, because the important component is going to be how much of your income is guaranteed. Tony's going to say, hey, Doug, I think we should start off with let's just look at $250,000 into a variable annuity contract. And we'll go over those reasons why. I tell Tony, I'm retiring today, and I need $60,000 of income every year. That's what I need to survive. That's what I need for my housing, my utilities, my groceries, my travel, those items. This is what I need. And the very last bucket, the estimated annual protected income amounts from other sources. This is only from Social Security and a pension. This has to be guaranteed income. So even if they have another annuity, you would plug that income in here as well, but it has to be a source that has guaranteed income for that client. In my example, I'm going to say I have $20,000. I know every client's going to be different. We have 4.75% income right now at age 65, and then you hit calculate. This is a free tool, by the way. Let's go over this. So withdrawal rate, all this is saying is, okay, you got your blue box of $20,000 of Social Security at the bottom, the light green or teal box. It says, okay, of your $1 million, you told me you needed 60. That means we got to take 40. And the withdrawal rate at a $40,000 withdrawal rate, that's 4%. Okay, 4%. That is, I don't know how much reading you do, but from everything that I've read over the last year and a half, this is unreasonable. It used to be 4%, but companies have slashed their dividends if they haven't eliminated them altogether. But more importantly, the interest rate environment has really hurt this model. We got 10-year treasury floating at a 1.5%. I can't believe 12 months ago it was at 60 basis points. This 4% rule was created in an environment when interest rates were much, much higher and dividends were higher. Okay. Or we can add the annuity. Remember, we put the annuity in place, $250,000. And this withdrawal rate now, all that's dealing with is the green box. Now we're taking a 3.75% distribution out of, remember, $750,000. We put $250 in the annuity. So the light blue box was introduced. This is the guaranteed income out of Jackson's variable annuity. So between the two sources of income, Social Security and the annuity, we got 31,875 of guaranteed income. Okay. What I like about this is we can toggle it now. Well, maybe we look at $300,000 if your client understands withdrawal rates. The more money we put in the annuity, the less that withdrawal percentage is going to go down. And shouldn't that be the goal, to create the income the client needs at the safest withdrawal rate possible? Yeah, that's what we should be doing. So the more money you put in the annuity, let's settle half and half. We put half in mutual funds and we put half in a variable annuity. With this plan, we only have to withdraw 3.25% out of our mutual funds rather than the full 4%. So that's the first component. You'll notice at the top right, you can toggle between withdrawal rate and protected income. And I think the protected income is really the important piece that clients are going to care about. Now we're going to click on this. Okay, without the annuity, only Mr. Client, Doug, you told me that you needed 60, 33% of that income that you told me you needed will always be there. And that's solely on the fact that you're getting Social Security. But if we introduce Jackson's VA for a quarter of the portfolio, over half of the income will always be there because of the additional 11,875. And once again, you can toggle this. Let's move it up to 300. Now 57% of the income. I'm going to go back up and move it up to half and half. What are you comfortable with, Doug? What do you want protected in retirement? A lot of times clients are going to say, well, don't I want all my income protected? Right? My needs aren't going away. I want all my so then you're gonna have to fight the battle of why you shouldn't put the full $1 million in the annuity. So again, we settle half and half. Now putting half in Jackson's VA, half in mutual funds. 73% of the income you told me you needed, Doug, will always be there, no matter what. Doesn't matter who's present. Doesn't matter if another pandemic comes around. Doesn't matter what happens in the market. That income will always be there. And when that market crashes, you don't care. Why? Because your income didn't change. You're going to go out and play another round of golf or whatever it is that you enjoy doing in your retirement. And when people have stress-free lives and they don't have to worry about income, guess what? They're healthier. They're going to be living longer. They need more protection in terms of income because their longevity is going to increase with happiness and health. So, okay, so we settled at half and half. We're going to hit create report. This is going to give you a printable PDF that you can give the client. You can send off to compliance. This is why we're doing it. I don't think anybody's going to argue the fact that that annuities do something no other solution does. All right, we put half in the annuity because my withdrawal rate just went from 4 down to 3.25 out of my unprotected portfolio. But more importantly, 73% of that client's income that they told me they needed will always be there. You print this off, you put it in their file, you send it off to compliance, and now they don't have to, now they remember why exactly we did the annuity in the first place. So use this tool. I absolutely love it. And how I get here is probably one of the questions I'm going to get is I just go to Google or on my iPad, and I think this works like Google. I just type in Reliance, like your reliance on the relying on this to survive. Reliance calculator. And it's going to be the first one under Capital Group. And it's going to bring, you don't have to log in. It's free to use. You click on that and it's going to bring you to the exact page that I started on. Okay. So I think the important, you're going to hear me say this a few times. The dividend strategy for income isn't working right now, and bonds certainly aren't working right now due to low interest rates. So what do? We have to look at alternative ways to generate income for clients when they retire. And I should have mentioned this, but we retire off of income. We don't retire off of lump sums of money. I'm sure you've all heard Tom Hegna speak before, where he talks about income makes people happy. Assets make people miserable, right? Income makes people happy. Assets make them miserable. What does he mean by that? If I have $1 million, I'm thinking, okay, what do I do with this? Do I put this in the market? Oh no, there's some volatility, there's some inflation. Now I'm getting scared. Should I put it in my checking account? Should I put it in my savings? Should I put it on my mattress? What do I do? When I have guaranteed income, I don't care. It doesn't matter what the market does. So income makes people happy, assets make them miserable. Okay, so this will be the last thing I go over. There's 3 core areas where people utilize Jackson. This is more of a product. The first client situation is somebody that says, you know what, Mr. Advisor, I don't need any income. So I'm kind of switching gears on you just for a brief moment. I don't need any income. But what I do need is I need a death benefit. When I was younger, when I was much healthier, I didn't get insurance when I should have. And now the premiums are just so expensive, or I don't want to pay the premiums, whatever the situation may be. So this client is just focused on legacy. They don't need an income rider. Don't pay for it. We have a 5% compounding death benefit with a quarterly step up on a death benefit value. So for those clients that are just looking for legacy, hey, I don't need income, but I have 50 grand that's earmarked for my kids. I can't get life insurance. That's obviously the best way to pass assets along to the next generation. Here's the next best way. Grow it tax deferred, 5% compounding, quarterly step up on a death benefit. On the opposite side of the spectrum is going to be somebody exactly opposite as that. I'm not worried about death benefit. I'm not saying there won't be a death benefit. I'm just saying that's not the focus. This client's focus is max income. I need as much income as I can possibly get without ruining my annuity. Hands down, and you know, I mean this respectfully. I've been working in the industry for a long time, and I get a chance to see every annuity out there and every income rider, and a lot of times I have to compete against it. I own this myself. Okay, it's called Lifeguard Freedom Net. The reason I own it is because I'm passionate about what it does in the income phase. The growth phase, it's the same as everyone else. Yeah, it has a 5% roll up on the income base, it has quarterly step ups, but the distribution phase is where this is different. It has 4.75% for life. But why I like this and why I own it myself is because of the profit sharing component. In the profit sharing component, if there's ever any earnings in the value of the contract, guess what? You get more income. You'll never get less than this. But if there's ever earnings, you're going to get the additional income, which is what I consider the profit sharing. And that is up to an additional 3.2%. So the client's income band every year will range between 4.75 and 7.9%. And anywhere in between. But I know for a fact you will never get less than this. If the market does bad, you're going to get 4.75, which is no different than any other company's payout. But what's different is if there's any earnings in the value, you're going to get profit sharing. Well, we're living this right now, sort of. We have. There's something called inflation. Right? I'm sure a lot of you have filled up with your gas tanks here over the last month and a half, 2 months. Maybe you're fortunate enough to be adding to a home or utilizing lumber in some way. The prices of goods and services have just skyrocketed, right? We have to pay more for these different items. Well, if we have to pay more, that means we need more money. We need to grow our money to a higher amount. Sitting in fixed income isn't going to help us keep pace with inflation. You need equity exposure in order to keep pace with inflation. Okay, so what this rider allows you to do is invest in the markets. What do the markets typically do in inflationary periods? Well, we're seeing it. The market's doing pretty darn good. Markets are going up in inflationary periods. If the markets are going up, that means we're probably going to get more income out of this annuity when we need it, right? We need more income because everything that we're buying costs more. Well, if the markets are going up, you're going to get more income out of this annuity. So if you want to spend more time with me or Zarif and go over this in more detail, we'll certainly be happy to do that. Free Lifeguard Freedom Net. Max income, that's what the client's sole purpose focus is. 55 years old, they're 55 years old, they're retiring in 10 years, and they need to supplement their Social Security. So I think that's the sweet spot for the Freedom Net. And then lastly are these clients. I need both. This is Freedom DB. This is your cake and eat it too. I will say it will not generate as much income as the Net Rider. It's not designed to. However, it will leave more money behind than as our client's taking out income. Because if our client was taking out income over here, this death benefit will be reduced. So Freedom DB, it's income for life with a non-reducing death benefit. We're going to give you income for as long as you live. I'm trying to find a one pager here. My iPad got all reorganized as I did an update to it. And now everything's out of whack where it used to be. So I apologize that this is, here we go. So it's income for life with a non-reducing death benefit. Okay, so if I have a $500,000 and I'm going to $20,000 income stream each and every year, I pass away and the value is worth 200. Okay, so I have $200,000 in the value of the contract. I put in a $500,000 and I took out X amount of income. We pass away, we will then refund the original $500,000 back to the beneficiaries. Okay, making them completely whole. Spend it twice. Spend it while you're living. When you pass away, give it to your family, give it to your kids, give it to a charitable organization. So that's Freedom DB. Those are the three places that advisors have been utilizing Jackson. Let me go here on perspective 2. Our client doesn't need any income. We don't need any more income. Our income needs are met, but we want to leave more money behind. The other scenario is, hey, we need as much income as we can get. We're not worried about death benefit. Our kids are successful. We don't have any kids. There's life insurance set up for them. What we need to focus on is just income. And then lastly, we're going to meet in the middle here for clients that need both. But the time is hot. It's right now, with interest rates being so low, you have a tool that acts like a bond in terms of income generating. When you think about why we use bonds, it's because of income. We use bonds to create income. Well, what do we use annuities for? To create income. And right now our annuity is going to generate more income than any bond out there. But the best part about our strategy and our annuity is you don't have to allocate the money to bonds. You can allocate to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, whatever investments you want to. So you have a hybrid tool. It's a fixed income in terms of income generating, and it's also going to perform like an equity position. So I went through a ton of information. I know that because I feel like I'm out of breath. Is there any questions I can answer for anyone?
Great as always, Doug. Great as always. Hey, on that DB rider, the Flex DB with the income, what are the income bands on that again?
Yeah, so the income bands, well, we have a couple of different versions. If a client is, if they're only taking RMDs or they don't need as much income as, if they're okay with a 4% distribution, I say, hey, just go with the value. It will be, let me just pull that up here. So here are the income bands. You know what? Let me make sure that I have the right one here. Here we go. All right, so this is the value. 65 to 74 is 4%. 75 to 80 is 4.5%. And if they wait to 81 and above, it's 5%. Now, where I tell advisors to use this because of the cost is for an RMD strategy. If clients are only taking RMDs, utilize this one because it's inexpensive. It really is inexpensive when you look at what it's providing for the client. So if they're okay, either A, okay with 4%, or B, they're only taking RMDs, use this rider. We did introduce a new version. called Freedom Accelerator DB. It works almost the exact same way. Income, well, it does work the same way. It's income for life with a non-reducing death benefit. However, this will generate more income. If the client needs more income than 4%, you would use this rider. Lifeguard Freedom Accelerator DB. And this has increasing payout percentages. So here's your payout when you get in, and every year you defer, it's going to grow by this percentage. So if you get in at 65 and you wait to 66, you're back up to 5%. If you wait 2 years, 5.25, 5.5, 5.75. So if the client needs more income, you would use the Freedom Accelerator DB. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then on the other, the original version, is there there's no growth on the income? It's right, or is that still there?
There is. Yep. That's
Okay.
still there. It's 5% on the deferral phase.
Okay. But on the accelerator one, there isn't. It's
Yep.
just
The accelerator, there is not.
Okay.
But it does have annual step ups.
Yes.
So if the market value performs, it's going to continue to step up.
Okay. Gotcha. And those are all single lives, right? There's no joints on those.
Single life, I think it's one of the best ways to protect the spouse, because you
Right.
add the spouse in as the beneficiary, and there's a refillment of the bucket at the end.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Also,
Anyone else have any questions out there?
Hey, Doug. On the this is Xiao Chen. So on that FlexDB rider, I could have sworn I saw a benefit that where the death benefit actually rose up every year, or steps up every year. I'm sorry.
on the FlexDB, it's
Yeah.
going to be the higher. The death benefit will be the higher of two things. It's going to be the higher of the cash value, or the original deposit, whichever is great.
Okay. Yeah. And I think so. If let's say for a scenario, let's say if you were starting to take income and then maybe like if let's say your contract value is about to run out, but you're still alive, can you still like add money to that account and then once you pass away, with the additional premium that was put in, would that still guarantee a at least the principal as a death benefit?
Yeah. So you're saying if we put 100 grand in and we've taken income out, and now we're getting down, we're close, we got $5,000 and we're older, you can put more money in. If let's say we put another $100,000 in, now the death benefit